What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns welcoming you to another episode of my Discuss series. Obviously, we took the week off last week because of Q&A, so that's how it's going to be. We're going to rotate Q&A in once a month, and whenever we have Q&A week, that's what we do that week. But all the other weeks, it's all about Discuss, and at the end of every video, I bring up the topic we will discuss next week. And you can be part of the Discuss as well. For next week's episode, just stay tuned to the end of the episode for the topic, and you can chime in with your ideas in the comment section via Facebook, Twitter, or email GeauxBurns@gmail.com. Now, at the end of last week's Q&A video, I mentioned what this week's discussed topic would be: Grand Theft Auto 6 ideas. And it basically went from Grand Theft Auto 6 ideas to, for the most part, Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2 ideas, with maybe one or two exceptions. We'll get to the exceptions at first, then we'll dive into the ideas for Grand Theft Auto 6, aka Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2. First off, we go to Can't Think. He's one of the only ones that gave me an idea other than Vice City 2. So he gets to go first. That's the rules. Well, my rules. Even though I don't think Rockstar will have the capabilities to do this yet, I'd love a future GTA to have a condensed version of America as a map. Hopefully better than the map in The Crew. I mean, that's supposed to be America, more or less. But yeah, let's hope that if Rockstar ever does a GTA America, that their map is a little bit better than The Crew's. Continuing, in the meantime, while waiting for that, I think GTA, which is sort of like a modern Red Dead, he would like it set in Texas, my home state. Arizona or somewhere in Southwest USA would be a good new entry in the franchise. So that would be very fascinating, kind of like a South, well, he didn't say South, he said Texas, because I'm from Texas and Louisiana. And to just clarify real quick, both sides of my family are from Louisiana. I live in Louisiana, but I was born and raised in Texas. That's why I consider myself a child of two states. But anyways, Texas is a very large state, and it's a very diverse state. You have a coast with beaches, not really nice beaches, but there's still beaches. It's all right. It's not as nice as, say, the beaches over on the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, but there's still beaches. So you got a little bit of ocean there in the Gulf of Mexico. You got the woods in East Texas. That's where I'm from. You got the plateaus in Southwest Texas. I think you even have a little bit of mountains in the northern part of Texas. So yeah, Texas is a very large, diverse state. And I think it would be a really cool map to do for a future Grand Theft Auto game. Plus, some of the largest cities in my country are in Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth, which is basically two cities. Then, of course, you have Houston, you have, San Antonio, you have Austin, which is the capital of Texas, and Austin has been growing by leaps and bounds over the past several years. It's getting pretty big as well. So, some pretty large cities in Texas, plus a lot of rural areas, a lot of diverse environments. I think Texas would be a fantastic choice as a map in a future Grand Theft Auto game. But obviously, I don't think they'll call it Grand Theft Auto Texas. Maybe they'll call it Grand Theft Auto Lone Star or Grand Theft Auto Tejas. I don't know. But still, great idea, Can't Think. And now that we got that out of the way, let's move to Grand Theft Auto 6, a.k.a. Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2. Starting off, we're going to go backwards in the alphabet to Sedan. And by the way, this is something Sedan made for me and posted over on Facebook. I'll let you guys check it out real quick. I mean, obviously, that's not Vice City, Sedan. You're not fooling anybody. We can tell that that's the pier in Grand Theft Auto Online and Grand Theft Auto 5. But nice try. It is a beautiful setting, though. I will give you that. It's a lovely setting with the sunset and the pier. But, yeah. So, yeah. In other words, the rest of this video is all about Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2 because that's what everyone else wants, which is very interesting. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. All right, so here's what he said off of YouTube. Grand Theft Auto 6, you mean Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2? I think we just need to go back to Vice City in the 80s with Tommy Vercetti. They have the budget to bring back Ray Liotta, and I want to see Tommy having to run a big new remastered 80s Vice City as the boss. maybe play as a foot soldier in his organization who does jobs for Tommy and others in his organization. That way you can still get that classic GTA working your way up the ladder story, but also get to see a full-blown glory of the 1980s in HD. You'd be able to go to the Malibu Club and go dancing to Michael Jackson, go dump bodies off your yacht while listening to Private Eyes by Hall & Oates. And I want them to just go all the way back and just go all in. The 80s was where the start of the cell phone era, so you could still have the phone menu like in Grand Theft Auto Online. Not exactly, Sedan. I know some of you have been watching my return to Grand Theft Auto Vice City over the past couple of days, which I've enjoyed thoroughly, even though there's a lot of salt in episodes 6 and 7. But you may have noticed in the last episode, Tommy pulls up that big giant 80s cell phone. And a cell phone in the 80s is a little bit different than a cell phone now. So you really couldn't do as much on an 80s cell phone as you can on a modern day smartphone. So I don't know if it would work exactly the same way. But still, I guess it's easier to have that cell phone than to have to run to a payphone for your missions like in the original top-down Grand Theft Auto game. You could call your mechanic or back up and request a car. Okay, you could do it that way. And you just pull up your phone and you'd have I don't know how that would work, to be honest, but maybe just pull out your phone book and you flip to the phone book and then you click on what you want to call, like mechanic or whatever, and then you dial a number. You're like, hey, mechanic, bring me my one of my cars, my DeLorean. What's the DeLorean called? That's right, the Deluxo. Bring me my Deluxo. I really wish they would add the Deluxo to Grand Theft Auto Online eventually. Love that car. I can just picture the cocaine and the paste just oozing out as I load my Bryn 10, jump in my Ferrari, and go blasting down the mall to buy a new Armani suit. So there's what Sedan wants from Vice City 2. Here's what Ushin wants. He also wants the same thing. Grand Theft Auto 6 set in Vice City. I'd like to see the hobo from Grand Theft Auto 4. And I didn't know what he was talking about at first, but then someone pointed out that it was the hobo at the end of, let's see, what was it? The Ballad of Gay Tony, or the one that gets all the diamonds. Yeah, I think that was Pro Gamer that pointed that out. But anyways, he wants the hobo for some reason tied into the new Vice City. I don't know, maybe he takes all the diamonds that he found and he decides to head on down to Vice City to live the sweet life on the beach. I don't know. And yes, you pronounce my name 100,000,000% better than any other American, in my opinion. Well, I try my best. I definitely do. So, another vote for Grand Theft Auto 6 Vice City 2. Next, we go to Luca off of Twitter. It should be Vice City. But if not, they can make San Fierro or Las Venturas from the San Andreas area or something completely new. Okay, so the reason why he probably included San Fierro and Las Venturas is because at the end of episode 6 of Grand Theft Auto Vice City this week, and in the Twitter, I was asking for non-Vice City ideas because I got so many Vice City ideas from you guys that I wanted something different. So I think Luke was like, well, I love Vice City, but okay, I'll include something else too. But yes, I think that would be really awesome if we eventually are able to go back to Vice City, as well as San Fierro and Las Venturas. In fact, we talked about that in a previous discuss video regarding 2017 DLC ideas for Grand Theft Auto Online. And you can check that out in the discuss playlist. We included those as potential expansions for Grand Theft Auto Online, San Fierro as well as Las Venturas. Next, we go to Kevin Boston. Hi, Mr. Bush. And by the way, Kevin, you think you're funny, but you're not. See, the problem here is he clearly calls me Mr. Bush several times, and at the end, he acknowledges that he called me Mr. Bush. You know, the Canadian education system has failed you, Kevin, because, Bush, Burns, spelled just a little different, but continuing. When you got my questions, some ideas for the next Grand Theft Auto game, Grand Theft Auto 6, which should most likely be called, well, rumor a year back saying that the next Grand Theft Auto would feature a map of the entire United States. I would love to see it. I would also love to see casinos involved in the storyline somehow, maybe a protagonist only the casino, or maybe something like that, or maybe the protagonist owns a casino, because let's face it, the casino online in Grand Theft Auto 5 is never going to open. Another idea is that Rockstar has never done, because they have casinos in the game before Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, is maybe the game starts out with you in prison on multiple charges, and you spend like the first hour of the game or so in prison, conducting illegal activities in prison. Don't drop the soap. And of course, the location, I'm not really sure where that may be. Engaged a casino set in Las Vegas, aka Las Venturas, or Chicago, Washington, D.C., maybe having a mission involving the White House. Also, location, although I hardly doubt, I could almost guarantee that this wouldn't happen. Maybe stop the game in Montreal or Toronto, Canada. Yeah, he wants Grand Theft Auto to go to Canada because he's Canadian. I get it. A lot of people want Grand Theft Auto to be set in another country besides the U.S. I don't mind the idea, but I will point out a case of history where that didn't exactly work out. Grand Theft Auto London. It's the Grand Theft Auto game we don't like to talk about. It was a top-down game. I don't know if it was an actual game or it was an expansion to the original Grand Theft Auto game. Either way, it wasn't very good. But at the same time, I personally would not mind Grand Theft Auto being set in another country to make fun of other than the U.S. because most of Grand Theft Auto games are, satire of America. Let's make fun of somebody else for once, like Canada or the UK, or Brazil. Why are you always picking on us for? I would also like to see cameos from real-life celebrities such as Tim Allen, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, just to name a few. I've them physically appear in the game in some capacity. Another interesting idea, something I heard a long time ago, is having a family system. I know, like Grand Theft Auto 5, where Michael has 2 kids, but maybe we should make the family give one of the characters of a family a few kids, actually make the character responsible for his kids, like things like driving to school, picking them up around the city, just acting like a father. Now, I know that sounds something like The Sims would do, but it'd be an interesting idea, also like a cameo appearance of Michael, Trevor, or Franklin, and have them physically appear in some way. Okay, that's my ideas. I may have gone too far here. Probably from the grammar or spelling mistakes. Someone here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so anyways, I thought for some reason there was Vice City included in your novel, Kevin, but I was wrong. And if I would have realized that, I would have put it at the beginning of the video instead of somewhere in the middle. But that's, that's on me. So at least you also were like, can't think, and you want to do something different than Vice City 2. But interesting ideas. I don't think you're ever going to see a Tim Allen or Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling. Probably a fictional version. It's always possible that they may voice a character in the game. And they could always voice themselves, because you've had a few real-life people voice their real-life counterparts, like Laszlo. He's a real person as well. And let's see, who else? A couple comedians in Grand Theft Auto 4. Their names escape me, but it was a British dude and Cat, I think. I don't remember. But anyways, the point is, it's a possibility that you could have something like that. But then again, I don't know. But it would be interesting if Rockstar was bold enough to take the Grand Theft Auto franchise into another country other than the United States. Because like I mentioned, I would like for another country to get picked on besides us. Believe it or not, Americans do have feelings. Next, we go to John Robinson. He emailed me, GeauxBurns@gmail.com. Hey, GeauxBurns, I'd love to see Grand Theft Auto 6 back to Vice City. See, we've gone back to Vice City. Let's just consider Kevin's novel a little break from the Vice City 2 discussion. Admittedly, I fucked up. I should have put that at the beginning of the video, but I can't go back. I could edit it, but I'm not going to, so fuck that. All right, so maybe not in the 80s, but it would be cool to see the city redone. Vice City came out in 2002, and we have gone back to San Andreas and Liberty City. I think the time has come to go back to Vice City. And since it's a new game, maybe expand some of the other islands, sort of like the Florida Keys, maybe some swamps with gators and fan boats like in Mafia 3. Brilliant ideas, because there is swamps in Florida, and there's also fan boats. And I'd love to include the Florida Keys. I would love to run drugs across all the islands while hiding from the cops and other gangs. So yeah, if we hypothetically, John, go back to Vice City and say Vice City 6 or Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2, whatever they call it, yeah, it would have to be more than just the islands that we have in the 2002 Grand Theft Auto 3D game, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which is what I'm Let's playing right now. By the way, if you guys want to go watch the previous episodes I did many, many months ago, they're all in the same playlist, Grand Theft Auto 3D. I also did a few episodes of Grand Theft Auto 3 before I kind of hit a wall and I couldn't continue, so I decided to move on to Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And I might just do some more episodes this week of Grand Theft Auto Vice City. If you want them, I may do them. Maybe, maybe not. And eventually I will move on to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as well. That is the plan because all the games are, available for purchase and to play on the PlayStation 4. Now, yes, I think that if they do go back to Vice City in the next Grand Theft Auto game, they're going to have to make it a lot larger than it was in the 3D version. Not just the islands that we're familiar with, and I do think that they should be included to some capacity. At least a more realistic version of Miami mixed in with what Vice City was. And part of me likes the idea of setting it in like present day, whether that present day is going to be like 2018 or 2020 or whenever they come out with Grand Theft Auto 6. But maybe, just maybe, the idea is, it's Vice City in the modern day, but there's still a lot of 80s vibe to Vice City still. It just can't let go of the 80s no matter how hard it tries. Even though there's a lot of, like smartphones and, modern technology, et cetera, and vehicles, you still have a very 80s vibe whenever you go to play in Grand Theft Auto 6 Vice City 2. I think that would be a good way of kind of like having the best of both worlds, because a lot of people either A, want the game to go back to the 80s as a direct sequel to Vice City with an older version of Tommy Vercetti, or they just want to simply go back to Vice City. So yeah, it would be interesting to see how Rockstar would bring forth an HD version of Vice City to Grand Theft Auto. Next, we go to Lane. Awesome video, GeauxBurns. I think she was talking about my latest Q&A video. I'm pretty excited for the games coming out this year. Me too. Some ideas I'd like to see in Grand Theft Auto 6 would be if they could bring back Vice City, but probably in a modern era, considering I don't think they bring back the past. And I think what she probably means by that is not just the, bringing it back to the 80s like we were talking about a moment ago, but the difference is something I've pointed out a few times is Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas, at the moment, exists in a different universe than Grand Theft Auto 4, Chinatown Wars, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, you have the 3D universe, and then you have the HD universe. And a long time ago, Rockstar said the two universes are not connected, even though there have been some crossovers, some bleeding through between the two universes, like Laszlo, for example. But, it's not just that. So it is possible that maybe Rockstar decided to tear down the barrier between 3D and HD, which, as I mentioned before, I don't really have a problem with. I think it's actually a good idea, to be honest. But, I would like, very much like you said, Elaine, it'd be nice to have a modern version of Tommy Vercetti and continue the ending of Vice City, see how things change, how life worked out for him. And yeah, like 2018, 2020. Like I mentioned a moment ago, I did that because I glanced over the ideas before I started the video, except for Kevin's, because he was insulting me by calling me Bush. Come on, man, don't be like that. When Rockstar decides to release it, hopefully soon, keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Elaine. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a new Grand Theft Auto game in 2018. I think that's a little too close, especially since we have Red Dead Redemption 2, hopefully coming this fall, which I'm very much looking forward to. We might get a teaser for Grand Theft Auto 6 in 2018, though. That could be a very real possibility. A teaser in 2018, maybe the trailer in 2019, and maybe, if we're lucky, maybe the game in 2020. Then again, maybe 2022 or 2052. You just never know with Rockstar and their timeline. And that is pretty much it for the ideas regarding Grand Theft Auto 6. And there were some different ideas that came up besides Vice City 2, like what we mentioned with Kevin, doing it in a different country. For the most part, it seemed like he wanted it set in either another city, like DC or Chicago, or like a Grand Theft Auto version of one of the cities, or like in a different country like Canada, where he's from, or like what Can't Think said, Texas or Arizona, for example. But for the most part, it seems like the overall consensus, the majority of Grand Theft Auto fans, at least on my channel, really want the next Grand Theft Auto game to go back to Vice City. Whether it's tied in any way to Grand Theft Auto Vice City from the 3D universe, or a completely new HD version of Vice City. And I kind of hope that there's something in the middle. I would like the tie-ins. I would like an older Tommy Vercetti. Maybe the HD Universe version of Tommy Vercetti as opposed to the 3D version. Also voiced once again by the very talented, legendary Ray Liotta. You can't have Tommy Vercetti without Ray Liotta. So yeah, I would definitely like to see Tommy Vercetti in Grand Theft Auto 6 Vice City 2, if that turns out to be the direction that Rockstar takes the franchise. And you know what? If you look at the logo I made jokingly, and it was something that Sedan suggested as well in a comment, that you see 6, the Roman numeral is VI, the first 2 letters of Vice City. So Rockstar could definitely go that angle, kind of like with the Resident Evil 7 logo, how they sneakily put the 7 in Resident Evil. So Rockstar could do the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 6 Vice City. It's a possibility, and it's something I would not mind seeing, a Grand Theft Auto Vice City 2 game. I, for one, would definitely play it. Once again, thank you to everybody for submitting your ideas for this discussed topic. Hopefully, we will find out somewhere down the road what the next Grand Theft Auto game will be, and I, like most of you, would very much like to see it set in Vice City. But next week's discussed topic is going to be open world games. And I want you guys to really brainstorm on this one. I want you to give me some very interesting open world game ideas. And yes, you can use established IPs and franchises like Grand Theft Auto, Mafia, etc. But I would prefer you to do something different. I would prefer you to be like, here's my idea for an open world game, and where I would like it set. And it doesn't have to be set in the modern day. It doesn't have to be set in the Wild West either, or the time of the mob. It can be set like in medieval times, or Roman times, or any other time. During, I don't know, any time of history. You could go anywhere you want with an open world game. Hell, if you want, you can even go to the future and give me a utopia or dystopia open world game if you want. So submit your open world game ideas below in the comment section, or via Twitter, Facebook, email, GeauxBurns@gmail.com.